The Business Visibility podcast series is brought to you by my strategy sessions. That's 90 minutes of pure focus on the growth of you and your business. Go to angelaraspass.com/strategy for more information. Inspiration, clarity, confidence, and wholehearted business strategy. Welcome to Your Next Chapter, the podcast especially for women in their 40s and beyond who know that business and personal development go hand in hand. Tune in each week for marketing, mindset, and personal growth strategies, along with inspiring stories from women around the world who are creating new businesses and lives that are personally fulfilling and financially rewarding. If you're looking to create a business and life you love, you're in great company. Let's find out what will unfold in your next chapter. I'm your host, Angela Raspass, and I'm so delighted that you're here. Hey, I've got a free gift for you. It's a wonderful resource I've created that goes along with this podcast series. If you go to angelaraspass.com/visibility, you'll be able to download the workbook, and it helps you create and implement your own visibility plan. I hope you'll find it really helpful. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Your Next Chapter podcast. In fact, this isn't just another episode. It's the beginning of an entire series that I've been working hard to put together for you. This is all about business visibility, about you being seen and heard and found in the marketplace so that more of your most aligned clients can connect to you and your message and reach out for help. This is where you get to understand really clearly how important it is for you to come out into the open and make it easy for those clients to find you. Now, so many of the women I speak to in my masterminds, in my strategy sessions, and all the different sorts of work that I do, they tell me that it is so important to them to make a difference, that they really feel aligned with helping people in a tangible way, that fulfillment in their business is really important to them as well. Well, all of that can only happen if you have the courage and the consistency of putting yourself out into the market so that the people who need you can find you. So that's why I've put this series together. Look, visibility really is all about marketing. And I know it would be fantastic if we could just be out there and people find us and we never have to market. It would be great if we could just focus on the things that we love, and which is our work in the world, no doubt. But I really want to get you comfortable with the idea that marketing and visibility is just communication. It's you opening the door to welcome people into your world and welcoming those people that are most aligned with you, the ones who resonate with your message, the ones who have the top of mind problem, pain, and aspiration that you, only you, can really help them with. So we're not going to bring in hordes of thousands. We're going to bring in the people that are a joy for you to work with. So there's many, many aspects to visibility. And look, I could have brought in 100 different guests with all these different pieces, but I don't want to overwhelm you. We want the building blocks of your visibility campaign in place, which is why I've also created a resource for you that I really encourage you to download and take some time to work with. It's very easy to grab this. You just go to angelaraspass.com/visibility. There's a surprise. And you'll be able to get this workbook and work through it and the concepts that are in there. But in this episode, I want to give you some insights into how I see visibility working, what's important about it, what it actually means, what are the components that I want you to coordinate so that you can be found out there in the world. Well, I think it's pretty easy to say what it is. It's being, here's a hint, visible. It's too easy for us to hide behind our computers sometimes. The internet is an amazing thing. It connects us with so many people and opportunities around the world. But honestly, nothing beats the connection of face to face. If you can bring some of that into your business as well, it's incredibly important. And when I'm talking about visibility and the strategies to make you more easily found, I'm also talking about those strategies that work for you, that make the most of your strengths, that make you feel comfortable and easy. I want marketing to feel good to you. Now, of course, I'm going to stretch you occasionally and take you a little out of your comfort zone, because your growth will come at your edges. But I don't want to terrify you. I want you to take on strategies and tactics that you are likely to develop and implement, not run away from. So we need to be looking first and foremost at what feels good to you and overlaying that with where you'll find your clients in what I call their watering holes. Now, a great example of this is an initiative that I've just started recently. I was really craving deeper conversations, that opportunity, as I was mentioning before, to actually connect with people face to face. And a lot of the strategies that are involved in my business have face to face in the respect that we're on Zoom. There's video conferencing. That's the way that I deliver so much of my content and resources and programs. And that's fantastic. I love it. But again, it's not quite the same as face-to-face. So I started an initiative just this month called the Salon Dinners, the Next Chapter Salon Dinners. I'm taking a small group of women who usually haven't even met each other into a gorgeous little French restaurant that's on the North Shore in Sydney. And I'm taking with us a topic, something to start having a really juicy conversation about. This month we talked about grit, the interplay of passion and perseverance when it comes to stepping into success as you define it. It's an amazing book by Angela Duckworth. But that's not the part that's amazing. The amazing part was the flow of the conversation, the connections that were born in that room, and that feeling I had of, yay, this is visibility at its best. So when I talk visibility, I'm not necessarily meaning you have to have a cast of thousands in front of you to get your message to. It can be as easy and as intimate as half a dozen people in a room having a wonderful meal and a fabulous conversation. So it needs to align with what feels good to you and to your most aligned clients. But let's go down into the structure a little bit more, shall we? We know what visibility is, and here's the steps, really, 2 things that you need to do first before you move into the plan. And these are outlined in the resource that I mentioned earlier. The first step that you have to take is simply to make a decision. Now, until you've made the decision that you are ready and willing and able to become visible, then it doesn't really matter. All the theory in the world won't stick. I actually want you to look in the mirror, look yourself in the eye, and commit to this. I'm going to become more visible, and anchor it in to a why. Why am I going to become more visible? Because these people need me, and this is what I'm here for. And I actually want you to turn that into a statement that you keep somewhere where you can see it regularly. It's very, very important for you to make that actual decision. So keep it visible, no pun intended. And once you've made that decision, then you can move forward into the second step. Now, the second step in your visibility campaign is checking your mindset. I want you to explore and see if there's any misbeliefs or fears that you've got inside about becoming visible that might hold you back. Do you feel that this is too hard? I don't have time to put all these strategies into place. Are you scared of being judged? Do you find yourself comparing what you're doing or might be going to do with what others are doing? Are you feeling that I'm not an expert and I don't really have a right to go out there and teach? Well, all of these misbeliefs and many others, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I want you to be actually looking at those and come up with a belief that actually serves you more. Lack of time? Well, just create a simple plan that's developed and fits in with your schedule. Are you scared of being judged, what other people will think about what you have to say? Well, just focus on being helpful, of being of service. Connect to your purpose, connect to your why, connect to your vision. Imagine the person who needs you finding a resource or something that you're talking about that really helps them exactly where they are. Are you comparing yourself to others? The good old comparison trap, which I talk about a lot because it's something that I've certainly fallen into in the past. Well, what I want you to focus on there is that your approach, your clients, your story, your stance, what you believe in and want for your clients, and your style, the way you have of expressing things will be unique to you. Try and look, if you fall into that comparison trap, this is about the possibility of inspiration. One of the women that I was interviewing in this series talked about how she wants to start a podcast. And when she was pulled into the opportunity to appear on somebody else's podcast, it triggered in her. And instead of falling down into the comparison comparison trap and thinking, oh my goodness, I'll never be able to do it. She recognized that she actually wants to start one herself. So comparison can sometimes be a trigger for inspiration and for action on your behalf. And if you feel you're not an expert, that imposter syndrome starts creeping in around the corners. I want you to understand that authenticity is held in far higher regard than perfection or just achievement. We don't want to learn from gurus preaching from a mountaintop. We want to know that the person who's offering us assistance has been down in the trenches where we are. Okay, and so you only need to be a little bit ahead on the journey than where your clients are for you to be able to help. No one has given me a certificate of permission to run a podcast or to do my business mentoring in the world, but I know I'm passionate about it and I want to help. So that's what I focus on. So really looking at these possible misbeliefs, these mindset hiccups that could be holding you back from becoming visible, it's important that you have this exploration with yourself and start to create some beliefs that are better, that serve you better. And if you do feel that you need a little bit of extra help with your confidence in this area, there's a link in the resource which will take you through to the Building Business Confidence Masterclass that I ran a while ago, which takes you through a 6-step confidence system that'll be really helpful. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, so once we've looked at our mindset and once we have actually after we've made that decision that visibility is now on the cards, then there is 4 visibility building blocks that I want you to be having a look at. Now, the first one is clarity. Before you can start to be visible and to put a message out there, you have to be really clear on who are you wanting to connect with? Who do you want to be seen by? Who is that most aligned client for you? You may need to revisit that before you start your campaign. And understanding their Tompa. That's an expression that you may be familiar with if you've been in my world for a while. It means top of mind, problem, pain, or aspiration. You need to understand what are the challenges that your type of clients are struggling with so that when you do come onto their radar, when you do become visible to them, you'll be talking about the problems that they're facing or the aspirations they're wanting to achieve. And so you will capture their attention. And in the clarity, I also want you to be thinking about what are the watering holes for your clients? Where are you likely to find them? Because that will help you make decisions as to what communication channels you'll start to use so that you can, in fact, connect with them. So once you've got clarity a little clearer, then we're talking about step 2, which is credibility. So I want you to be sharing here why you are the person to help them. Now, this is where the empathy piece comes in. This is where your story and your background comes in. People really wanting to understand that you have been there and that you've found a way through and that your experience can sweeten and shorten the journey for them. Now, as a part of that, you'll need to be establishing how you can help. So actually explaining how you can take people from where they are to where they want to be. And this sort of messaging comes in within your visibility campaign as well. It influences what you're going to say, where and how. And as a part of building credibility, collecting the feedback that you've received from others that you've helped and sharing that. And that can be from a visibility perspective as simple as a testimonial that is on your website that you use in other social media platforms, or case studies that you reference when you're doing a Facebook Live, or a story that you're sharing about where you've been and where you've come to when you're speaking, perhaps at a live event. But we need to know that you understand and that you have experience in bringing us through, and that will enhance that credibility. The next piece here is your core. That's looking inside of you and asking yourself, what are your signature strengths? What are the things that you find easeful to do? This is where I'm touching on you making your choices about your marketing efforts. If the thought of public speaking absolutely terrifies you, don't put it at the top of your visibility plan. That might be a horizon too to grow into. From there, I also want you to think about the platforms and communication channels you're going to choose. If the idea of being on Instagram is like incredibly attractive to you, if you love naturally taking photos and sharing them, then that's a place that you are likely to actually implement, to take action on. So do it. On the other side of the coin, if something like Twitter just leaves you cold, then don't go there. Okay, understanding what channels you feel good about being on makes a lot of sense. Okay, and I also want you to be looking at those strengths and overlaying them with where your clients will be found, as I was saying earlier. Get clear on what you stand for, what you believe, and what you want for your clients. I'm a huge believer that your message should repel just as much as it attracts, because you don't want everybody trying to connect with you. You don't want to try and almost make your message vanilla so that it doesn't put anyone off. I would be much happier for you if you had a narrower audience that felt absolutely connected to your message because it resonates at a deep core with them, than having a broader, more generic message just to get a bigger audience. So really have a look inside. What are those strengths? Look, it comes as no surprise the reason I podcast is because I adore having conversations with people, and I find it very easy to talk, in case you haven't noticed. Fortunately, I'm a pretty good listener as well, and so interviewing is a definite strength of mine, and that's why that is one of my core ways of becoming visible. But what is it for you? Because this isn't about me. It's about you. So have a good look inside and understand your strengths. There's plenty of Strength Finder tests you can take online if that's what you want to do. And visibility is not about being extroverted. There are incredibly visible and powerful introverts and all other personality types in between. It's about embracing your style and becoming visible in your way. Now, the fourth piece here is consistency. And there's several aspects to this. One of them is very much your visual brand consistency. And that's as simple as the fonts and the colors that you choose and the imagery that you use in posts, on your website, in your blogs, etc. Now, I really focus in on the 40 to 65 type of market. So if you come to my website, you will not see any Instagrammy pictures of 20-year-old gorgeous girls, because that's not my market. I want to have that visual brand consistency and show real women who are powerfully at this stage of our lives. So have a look at your own visual brand consistency. Is it going on? I also want you to consider, what are the topics that you will consistently create content about? I mentioned earlier that two that I am very much aligned with is mindset, the confidence, the getting out of the comparison trap thing, and also the marketing side. I love marketing, and marketing, of course, is all about communication. So those are two topics that I'll be talking about a lot, or I will be creating content and resources and visibility activities around those type of subjects. And I've got a little bit more to add later in this particular podcast about how you can splinter those topics. The other piece is the when. When will you be consistently in contact with your audience? Consistency is so important. People need to know that they can rely on you as their provider of information and guidance. So if you're only popping into their inbox once in a blue moon, or posting every third week on Facebook, it's difficult to build a relationship with you. It's difficult to have that consistency if you don't have a plan, which is why the next step is in the resource that you'll be downloading. So the plan is very simple. This template that I'm providing you in this guidance and this particular resource is supposed to be simple so that you can take action. It takes you through those focus topics. So if mine are confidence and marketing, and there's a couple of others as well, but let's just start with those two. What will yours be? What are the 2, 3, or 4 key topics that you could then find subtopics underneath that you could be talking about consistently so you become known for these things? Again, you're not trying to be all things to all people. You're trying to be resonant, helpful, and of value to your clients who are stuck with these particular problems. Once you're clear on those topics, then you're choosing your visibility platforms. Now, there's a lot of checkboxes in there in the resource, everything from blogging and video and podcasting and networking, Facebook, etc. The key is, do not try and spread yourself across all of these. Start with 1 or 2 and go deep rather than wide. And choose the ones, as I was mentioning before, that resonate with you, your signature strengths, and where your most aligned clients are most likely to hang out. And then it's deciding on your visibility schedule. That's coming in on the consistency piece. What is the minimum activity that you will commit to on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? Start small. You can always add. And the thing is, when you have small goals that you attain regularly, your confidence builds. And that confidence piece can never be underestimated in terms of its value. So don't promise that you're going to run a webinar every week. You'll be on Facebook Live every second day and you'll be doing this and this and this. You may manage that for a couple of weeks, but then you're bound to burn out. And that is disheartening for you and a bit surprising for your audience. So start with smaller goals and then build up from there. So those are just some of the things that are in this in the resource that I'm providing for you. But I also want to provide you with a few of the highlights of who you're going to be hearing over the next 8 weeks of this visibility series. Leanne O'Sullivan in episode 83 will be talking about digital strategy. We're all playing in the online landscape and there's so many connections that we can make when we're there. But there's some other pieces that are really, really important. You developing a content strategy that allows you to get found through search. Now you can just start with a great landing page that invites people into your world and then follow up with a social schedule that feels authentic to you. So Leanne is taking us through the different pieces to get involved in your own digital strategy. From there, we talk with Sean D'Souza from Psychotactics in New Zealand, who is really teaching the art of article writing. Now, as Sean says, a well-written article has the power to educate and inform and entertain. And people are thinking, hey, 5 minutes ago, I didn't know how to do that, or I didn't have that skill, but now I do. And it's Sean that really takes us down into the concept of subtopics under those main areas of interest, those core topics that you want to talk about. And he's very much like me, a fan of going deep rather than wide. Make sure you got a pen and paper for that one. From there, we move on to the fabulous Kate Toon, who talks to us about search engine optimization. Now, that SEO is probably a term that you've heard about before, and you may even have some knowledge on what it is that you need to do with it. But Kate's take on it and how she really doesn't want you to be an online island with no airport or ferry terminal. She wants to teach you how people can come into your site, how you can link into your site, how you can make the most of what you're doing online to keep Google happy, absolutely, but more importantly, to keep your most aligned clients happy. Then we move on to Robbie Samuels, who is talking to us all about networking, but very much from building relationships, not just about networking, not transactions, relationships. And it's beautiful the way that Robbie was describing how we can all add a little value all the time, and that will really help us become visible and memorable. That's one of the really big things. Robbie encourages us to go to less events, but to do it with more intention and presence. From there, you'll be meeting Joe Saunders, who is an expert on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is a really underutilized platform in a lot of ways. And the insights that Joe is sharing with us in this particular interview, where she's talking about increasing your visibility, your likability, and your credibility, can make an enormous difference to your business, especially if you're in the professional services field. So LinkedIn could be a really good option for you. And with Google putting LinkedIn results in the general searches these days, it's a really important piece of your campaign overall. From there, one of the conversations that really resonated with me was from Alison Jones in episode 88. She is an absolute proponent for you writing a book. No, not everybody should write a book, but if you've got that core desire that's been there for quite some time, then it can be an incredibly powerful and permanent part of your ultimate business visibility strategy. It really can help you with your credibility, and it's a huge piece of authority that you can have out in the marketplace if you have your own book. Now, your signature content strategy can really bring a book into it, and you'll be amazed if you have a system that you utilize in your business now to help clients, then you have a system that you can turn into a book. So definitely have a listen to that one, because it could just create an author out of you. And then the last for now episode is with Claire D, who is talking about powerfully presenting. This is all about, yes, public speaking is an opportunity, but speaking in many different ways, not just on a stage. You can use it in Facebook Lives, you can use it in your own videos, in your own webinars, when you're at those networking events and have the opportunity to talk about what it is that you do. And Claire and I had a conversation about how to share your message with authenticity, to really really balance your inner energy with your outer audience and bring the whole of you into every presentation that you do. She teaches, or we touch on, a simple structure that will help you step up to the mic or step up to the video camera or wherever you happen to be with more confidence. A simple structure can make all the difference. Look, I could talk for hours about all the fantastic content that you are going to be exposed to in this series. There is absolute gold in almost every, in fact, in most of the moments when you're listening to these podcasts. And I hugely encourage you to have a pen and some paper so that you can grab those ideas, but more importantly, so that you can choose the ones that you will develop and implement, because this is all about you and you getting yourself and your work out into the world so that the people who most need you can find you, can connect with you, can hire you. That's what this is all about. So make sure you grab that resource again, angelaraspass.com/visibility, so you can get a copy of the template and the plan and the background work that I've spoken about here on the podcast. It's great to listen to it, but actually putting pen to paper and taking action, that's what will make the difference in your business. And if you're looking to dive a little bit deeper at the moment, one of the things that you'll notice on the podcast is that it is presented by my strategy sessions. Now, those are very, very focused sessions where you and I will be working closely together on the challenges in your business, the aspirations you have for your business, having a fresh perspective, having a fresh set of ideas, some extra eyes and hearts and minds on your business and your work can make an enormous difference. I adore running these strategy sessions. They can either happen here with me in person in Bayview in Sydney or from anywhere around the world. Just in the last 3 weeks, I've worked with people in the UK, in America, and here in Sydney, and it's been an absolute joy. So if you're looking to have an injection of ideas and energy, then you can certainly get in contact and I can help you there. You can pop along to angelaraspass.com/strategy and you'll find more details. But for now, let's move forward into the Visibility podcast series. There'll be 7 more episodes coming out after this introductory one. I would love it if you could share these episodes, share the podcast with people in your audience. I love the opportunity to get these messages out to more women who are aligning with their purpose in their next chapter businesses. It's my job to inspire you to understand that you can have a business that is fulfilling, purposeful, that makes a difference in the lives of others and makes a great profit for you as well, because you deserve to be well rewarded for the work that you do in the world. I love the fact that you're taking the time to listen to the podcast. I love the fact that you're here, and I really look forward to making your next chapter that little bit more enriched by the guests that are on this podcast. So take care. I will talk to you again very soon. Thanks for listening to the Your Next Chapter podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please let me know. Pop over to angelaraspass.com to subscribe to the show and leave a review. And whilst you're there, you can also enjoy valuable free resources, including show notes and downloads, along with the Next Chapter community, where you can connect with other wholehearted women on the same journey as you. We'd love to welcome and support you as your next chapter unfolds. See you next time.